Okay.
what do you think about the undercover community?
I think that if you roll in undercover, right, there's no need to, because I think the opportunities are endless.
Hero stood shoulder to shoulder with Meek Mill.
I'm at a point in my life, like, we all grew up in the streets, and we try to be better, but they labeled us felons, sent us back to jail. I had to fight against that the whole time to gain my respect and be who I am today, and I'm proud of that.
What do you think? What do you think about the undercover community? I think that if you roll in undercover, right, it's no need to, because I think the opportunities are endless. Hero stood shoulder to shoulder with Meek Mill. I'm at a point in my life, like, we all grew up in the streets, and we try to be better, but they labeled us felons, send us back to jail. I had to fight against that the whole time to gain my respect and be who I am today, and I'm proud of that. Video footage from a birthday bash Sean Diddy Combs threw for his friend Meek Mill in April of 2014 has surfaced in the midst of the disgraced rapper trafficking arrest. According to Daily Mail, the party was held at a Parisian palace in Las Vegas that Diddy rented for a whopping $25,000 for 24 hours. Drove me crazy. We just got new footage of Diddy's party that he threw for Meek Mill's birthday, and Meek saw this and blew up on Twitter. Y'all already know, gang, Meek Mill in real life. Don't ever disrespect me. You ready? Yeah, Meek. It appears that Nicki Minaj and Meek Mill will always be resentful ex-partners, and their feud is far from over. The prosecution has wasted no time in outlining Diddy's trafficking ring's blueprint since the beginning of his trial. Numerous male escorts have already testified about their relationships with him and the abuse he inflicted on them. Nicki simply attacked Meek Mill, saying that Diddy always kept him on a tight leash and that he was just a kept man like the others. Nicki Minaj has previously mentioned that Meek Mill is secretly dating many other rappers in the business. Nicki will not tolerate Meek Mill's continued self-defense and posts claiming to know nothing about Diddy, especially in light of everything he has done to her. Girl. They released all the photos of the sex workers that Diddy would hire to have sex with Cassie in front of him for the freak-offs. I looked at every last picture of those men. Not one woman was hired. Diddy is women and shit because he can't be with a man for real. So this just sent straight from Philly. Philly MC said they want that smoke. So we gon' see what y'all got. Meek Mill, you know, you ain't got nothing but air and opportunity. Show them how it's done. I'm at a point in my life, like, we all grew up in the streets, and we try to be better, but they labeled us felons, sent us back to jail. I had to fight against that the whole time. Where would you be right now if you were just Meek Mill who nobody knew? If you didn't have all these powerful people who raised your case up and made people? I would be in prison. Yeah. What's up, King Son? Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, Daddy. You putting in that work. Proud of you. I love you. Meek Mill's got to deal with what he got to deal with based on the relationship him and Puff had. She has been very critical of Meek Mill ever since their 2017 breakup. Nicki clearly liked him when they were together, with songs like All Eyes on You, By Your Heart, and Bad for You. They briefly gave the impression that they were going to be the newest power couple in hip-hop. However, after 2 years, things became extremely toxic, and Meek is accused of touching her. According to her, Meek Mill was one of those men who was always looking out for women, but was extremely modest and afraid to approach men. You abused your own sister and recorded it, she added in a tweet. Taped it after fighting on her. Sent your mother to the hospital after kicking me in front of her. You felt tough again after sucking Drake's D. Additionally, if Nicki Minaj has a grudge against you, she will pursue it until there is nothing more to discuss. She handled the Meek Mill situation precisely like that. Shortly after criticizing him on the internet, she went on Instagram Live with Soulja Boy to discuss how she knew many down-low men in the business and how they made life hard for the women they eventually dated. Do you think it's a lot of undercover brothers in the industry? Oh no, Queen. We don't know nothing about undercovers. Oh no. We don't know about that. Okay, 'cause I do. Meek Mill's got to deal with what he got to deal with based on the relationship him and Puff had. Dressing alike, being cozy, Puff calling him daddy, music saying little in the windows to him. People are looking at that and saying Meek Mill is wrong for saying no, Diddy. But you can't tell a man how to spend his money and how to make love to his wife. This was enough to get people curious, and before long there were answers, even though she didn't specifically name him or anyone. Lil Rod filed a sexual assault lawsuit against Diddy, but it was dropped in 2024. However, the lawsuit's apparent naming of other parties involved was what really got people talking. According to the report, Diddy was seeing a Philadelphia rapper who had dated Nicki, and Meek Mill was the only man who fit the description. People began searching for pictures and videos that showed Diddy and Meek looking suspicious, going all the way back to what Nicki had said. For example, why did they have photos of themselves in identical attire? Diddy even took Meek shopping, kid. And you know what that means in 50 Cent's opinion? Why then does he feel so at ease telling Meek this? Video footage from a birthday bash Sean Diddy Combs threw for his friend Meek Mill in April of 2014 has surfaced in the midst of the disgraced rapper's trafficking arrest. According to Daily Mail, the party was held at a Parisian palace in Las Vegas that Diddy rented for a whopping $25,000 for 24 hours, which, according to the property manager Jason Haidt, was left in a disgusting mess after the wild get-together. He told the publication, quote, "There were broken bottles of alcohol, used condoms, blood on the beddings, powder, razor blades by the hundreds, lubricant on the dressers, and marble floors." Jason claimed he also, quote, "found panties, bras, and even 2 iPhones in the bushes behind the bowling alley." Diddy's personal assistant relayed specific requests for the party, including bringing their own smoke detectors, and that all interior bedroom door locks were to be ordered new and left unopened for their arrival. The property manager was given a rough estimate of 850 guests for the mansion party. However, 900 guests showed up. Jason claimed most of the guests participated in, quote, drug-fueled festivities and described Diddy as being wasted. He said the party ended around 3 a.m. and claimed there was rampant cocaine use all over the $7.5 million property. Music Man, get? I'm on a must music applause. Joining me now is broadcaster and journalist Day Dunley. Diddy, let's start with video footage of the birthday party of Shaw Diddy Combs, one he organized for Meek Mill back in 2014. This video has resurfaced with the property manager of the location, the Parisian Palace in Las Vegas, claiming that there were broken bottles of alcohol, used condoms, blood on the bedding, powder, razor blades by the hundreds, lubricant on the dresses and marble floors, panties, bras, and even 2 iPhones in the bushes behind the bowling alley. Goodness me, sounds like quite the party. Do you think we're going to see footage of these parties, particularly the freak-out parties where all the grotesque going on were happening? And given the fact that we are hearing he taped everything, he had video cameras with him at all times. Well, that's where I've got a question mark as to whether he filmed this or whether the property manager has bobbed up after this is 10 years ago party. There's something concerning me a bit about this, and we get it by now. We've heard that Diddy has wild parties, but he's in jail. He's awaiting trial in May next year on some pretty serious charges, sex trafficking, etc. Could be in jail for the rest of his life if convicted. Exactly. So while this is a salacious story, I'm concerned that the more of this sort of story that bops, it's playing into the hands of the defense. They're going to at some point be able to argue that he's not going to get a fair trial. But where will they get a jury of people who haven't heard all of these claims? And I'm also just vaguely skeptical about this property manager who says that he found cocaine all over the house, but he thought it was icing sugar. Well, of course, when you see a wild party attended by rock stars, you assume icing sugar. Of course. And then he went around and collected it all and said he got about half a gram altogether. So his credibility is not high. Well, how do you feel about your name being besmirched? Because now we say Diddy,
I know. It's like my son and Hunter, when Hunter Biden's antics became world famous. Hunter Panache had a moment to deal with that because it was the coolest name for many years, and now it's associated with Hunter Biden.
Yep. I'll go double E instead of he is D. Yep. Now, there's a lot of celebrities who are nervous, not just about Sean Diddy Combs' parties and lists being released, but also the high-profile individuals, including a few billionaires who are on the Jeffrey Epstein list. Well, it seems like yesterday they were out poolside with a video with Diddy and Meek Mill, and people were laughing and saying, hey yo, pause, because he called Meek Mill daddy. You deserve it, daddy. That I didn't see nothing wrong with that. So Puff Daddy calling somebody daddy is surprising to people. If that was my significant other and another man calling him daddy, I'm gonna be like, why? Well, Diddy said way more possible stuff than that, I guess. I've heard that on a scale of 1 to, do you like to party? That's about a 2. On the Diddy scale, that's about a 2. Everyone was initially shocked by what they were